G'day and welcome back to the AFL Fantasy, the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy podcast. We are talking about the off-season trade period. Who's at the new clubs? Who's left their old clubs? And where are their opportunities for points? Let's go!
Rogers done it from nowhere. Busted the goal from inside the 30. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty.
G'day and welcome back to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on X at Ball Boys Fantasy. And I'm joined once again by Luke Rogerson for episode 2, 2026. We're definitely not recording this back-to-back with the last episode, but how are you again, my friend?
I'm good, mate. It is definitely 2 days later and not the exact same day. 5 minutes
We just are terrible at washing our clothes. Off-season. There's a bit more happening. I feel like the AFL would love to be a bit like the NBA and that there's just trades everywhere and, players leaving around. And I feel like there was a bit more of that this season. A couple of big names leaving.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those be careful what you wish for because there's things about that NBA structure that aren't good either. But in terms of eyeballs on the AFL, they certainly would. And I think fantasy is a way for them to do that because we all love seeing who's going to the new clubs.
We need to know because it definitely affects what players we select in the preseason. Every year there's a player that changes clubs that goes absolutely bananas. Last year it was Bailey Smith. It was the easiest call to make in the world. Although, I remember last year there was some coach out there that made a bold call that Bailey Smith was going to be the highest averaging player. And that turned out to be true.
Who was the coach?
I think that was you, mate.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was you.
Thank you, mate.
Pretty bold at the time, but he obviously went 116.
That wasn't bold at the time, was it?
To be the highest in the comp, yeah.
You're right. I'm a bit of a fucking prophet.
He wasn't being selected number 1 in draft, that's for sure. And obviously he was the forward. So there's opportunity. Whenever a player leaves a club, they're obviously doing so for a reason. A lot of the time it's to chase a role or something like that. And players leaving also creates a vacuum of opportunity behind them so that someone else can step into that role. So
that's definitely the second part of what we're going to talk about is not just those individual players, but just how clubs are affected. You know, how many midfielders do we look at going through those rotations and things like that as well. So
100%. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go through every single club. There's definitely some clubs that it's very boring. We're going to move through them very quickly. Some we're going to spend a bit more time on, but we're going to go through alphabetically. We're going to talk about who's in, who's out, but we're also going to talk about like we said just now, the CBA opportunities. So of the players who left was some of the players that left in the CBA rotation and how much of a chunk is leaving that side. And then also a market share. So if players leaving, like we talked about with Richmond last preseason, we had 6 of the top 7 market share players retiring or leaving, which create an opportunity for players to score. Didn't really help our friend Jaden Short all that much, but
or Timmy T really,
or Timmy T. But it is interesting to note where there are potential for players to step up, and I think going through like this will make it a bit more clear for us.
Well, it's appropriate that you said step up because the first player out at Adelaide is Matt Crouch. So was that? Did you mean to do that?
Yeah, it's a seamless transition.
Perfect. Oh, Crouchy, Gorskis.
So Crouch is out. He is retired, and in comes Calamachi. I should also note that I haven't listed on this one every single in and every single out, just the main ones. A lot of the draftees we've sort of left because we don't know if they're going to actually come in or not. But Matt Crouch is the main one. He leaves. Now, he only played 6 games last year, so it's important to note that from the top. And he had 60% CBAs when he was there. But there is a large chunk of data to know what actually happens when Crouch wasn't there. And the main beneficiary was actually our boy Sam Berry. He was the main guy who benefited because remember when we traded him in around the bye period and we thought...
mate. I went
I
somewhere
did.
different. I think I come up Rogerson there.
Yeah, you did pretty well.
Who did I bring in at that point?
I don't focus on your
someone
team.
better than you.
My team anyway. You went the Sheldrick, I think.
Yes, the Shelduck.
Yes, but Sam Berry came in and low CBAs but after around 11 it started to really pick up. And we were worried he was going to be just a short-term thing, but he stayed for the entire rest of the year. So he was the guy that benefited the most. Do you think that's going to repeat again in this year? Is Sam Berry going to be the guy that steps back in there? Or is it more of an opportunity for someone like Sid Draper or some people I've heard early on talk about Daniel Curtin? Anyone else that you think could step into a higher CBA role?
Yeah, I think it could be a combination of those guys. But the main thing with Crouch, like you said, he doesn't play too many games, but it was almost the threat of Matt Crouch last year. It was, you started making decisions around, if he does come in, he can only play one position. How does that influence, the person I'm selecting? So we love you, Crouchy, but it's good to see the back of you from that perspective.
It does just decrowd it a little bit. They also, I didn't put this on the run sheet, but is it... who was that? Schoenberg. Schoenberg also left. He only played the one game, so it wasn't really a factor last year. But again, just another someone in that log jam that we no longer have to worry about. I wonder, Rankin, again, his role was all over the place last year. If he's going to do that whole midfield forward dance again. But I don't think it's going to be a major factor, but we'll wait and see. The next team, again, not too much happening here. Although, I mean, there's a fair bit happening, but I don't think too much fantasy relevant. Brisbane.
The rich get richer.
The rich get richer. In comes Oscar Allen, Sam Draper, and Dan Annable. Pick 6, Academy. Love to see it.
I think he might be Annable to make his way into the side.
I don't know where you were going with that. I thought there was a...
Unable to...
Okay. I thought it was a Hannibal Lecter sort of thing.
No, it was probably a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But we're only 2 episodes in, so I'll keep trying.
So obviously they had other draft picks, but he's the main one, obviously there. And the outs are Kalamachi, the Big O, retired, and Brandon Starcevic also went to the West Coast Eagles. So a few ins there.
Well, based on last episode, mate, Sam Draper's in your starting side.
Yeah, well...
And we're holding you to it.
We talked about him a little bit, but... Is he coming in and being the number one ruck with Oscar McInerney gone? The Big O did not play all the games. He had 14 games last year, had a 64% CBAs. 8 of those games he shared with Darcy Fort.
Darcy hold down the fort.
Yes.
While Big O's out. Yeah, if you go and get Drapes, I reckon he's going to be seeing some game time.
Do you think it's a sole ruck, or do you think that they're sharing Fort and Draper together? I tend to lean the latter. I think they're going to play 2 rucks.
Fort over it. Fight over it. Fort probably.
I forget to use my bloody...
what do you do it?
I forget to use my...
This is going to land well. 5 minutes after the fact. Well done, mate.
I've got to use my button.
Keep your finger on the button this time.
Okay. But, yeah, so what do you think? Dual ruck? Single ruck? We'll probably get the answer before the start of the year. But I don't trust that Sam Draper's just going to walk in here and be like, "Hey, boys."
To be fair, I think they were very happy with what Fort did, and there were even patches, and I'm not a Brisbane aficionado, where I think that the Bicko didn't come back in automatically because
I think that's
Darcy
right.
was doing a good job. So we'll see.
Dual premiership player. So yeah, I think that's the big one. In terms of the market share opportunities, we had 65 points from the Big O, 63 points from Kalamachi, and 44 from Starcevic. So you're not talking big fantasy scoring players leaving. I dare say that Oscar Allen, Sam Draper, and probably Dan Annable all outscore those 3.
Yeah.
So I think from a market share point of view, there's going to be less points going around for everyone else. So hard to see anyone in Brisbane really breaking out because they were already the number 1 scoring fantasy team in the comp.
Yes.
2 years in a row, I think. So just not enough points, I think, to go around in that club, which I think is probably one of the biggest downfalls. Going to Carlton, bit more exciting. There's a few things happening here. So, out. You got Tom de Koning. He's gone to St Kilda. Sam Doherty also retired. Charlie Curnow is gone, and Jack Silvani is gone, among others. In comes Liam Reedy, Harry Dean, who was the number 3 pick with a father-son, Ben Ainsworth, and Campbell Chesser. So to me, this looks like the flip side. You've got big point scorers in Tom de Koning and Sam Doherty leaving, with no one really coming in to replace that. So to me, this looks like opportunity when it comes to a market share. 85 points, let's call it, from TDK, 84.5 points from Doherty, 66 from Charlie Curnow, and 65 from Jack Silvani, with only rookies and Liam Reedy coming in. I think there's an opportunity here for someone to break out.
Yeah, you'd like to think that somebody's going to get a bit of a bump. It'll just be a matter of who it is. Obviously, TDK's points coming in the ruck, but Doherty didn't.
He shared a bit with Pitnet as well.
Yeah,
at times. So
yeah, and Doherty didn't really come good until how many games did Doherty play in the end?
That's a good question.
He played the latter half of the season.
He played a decent amount.
He was at the Oxlongs for a bit. That doesn't mean he played well because
He missed 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last 4. So he missed 8 games of 24, so 16 games. That's a fair chunk. Only had 4 splattering of CBAs. It wasn't really a CBA thing. He was definitely more that wing, a little bit of halfback as well. I think that's when we wanted to grab him. So it's just more the fact that he got the ball a fair bit. And TDK, he played ruck predominantly, but second half of the year, he moved a bit more forward. He's also one of those guys that collects it more around the ground as well. Do you think Liam Reedy is someone to watch? Because he has come over from Freo. How much longer are they persisting with Mark Pitnett? Mark Pitnett played, 6 games last year?
Yeah, look, I don't know if he's ready to step into that number 1 ruck role just yet.
Layups.
Oh, man, it's too easy. It's too easy. I don't know enough about him. I heard his name and I was like, I'll get on that. Fuck.
I think this is one to watch because I believe he is a ruck forward, very cheap. So I think he is definitely someone we could consider, if not for the bench, maybe at F6 or something like that. He's going to be cheap is the big thing here. So there's definitely an opportunity here. You've got 68% CBAs of TDK walking out the door. Maybe that's going to be Pitnett's role, and then he's going to get 32% CBAs. But even that, for a forward rookie, essentially, that could be enough to be a decent cash cow.
Cash there.
So I think it's more than likely they probably will split the role. I don't see, unless there's an injury to Pitnett, I don't see Liam Reedy just coming in and being the number 1 ruck and soul rucking the whole thing. But yeah, I think that definitely will help. And also Harry Mackay with no Charlie Curnow there. Harry Mackay was often that chop out ruckman. I think with him being the sole guy in the forward line, you're not going to want to put him into the ruck and have no big target there.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
So I think that they'll probably play those two together. I think that's someone to watch. The other one I want to Sam Walsh. I think there's a prime opportunity for him to break out if he can fucking stay healthy in the preseason, because it's been 3 or 4 years.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
All right, moving on. Speaking of crickets, I'm assuming that's the button you pressed.
I pressed ready to get hurt again.
Oh, right. Well, ready to get hurt again. I don't think we're going to be hurt again because these guys didn't hurt us. But Collingwood, nothing really happened here. Out Tom Mitchell, Brodie Myercheck, Mason Cox.
Cox out.
Yeah, let's salute our boy Coxie.
Cox out,
and Will Hoskin Elliott all out. In comes Jack Buller and a bunch of rookies. So Tom Mitchell's the big name here. He only played 4 games.
Yeah.
He 62% CBAs. I think he was second behind Dacos in terms of the CBA mix, but it was only in 4 games. So really, we didn't see much of him last year at all. Mason Cox was a backup ruckman, 24% CBAs in 10 games. There's not really much to change here, I don't think.
Yeah. No.
Really, we're just going to be watching to see if there's a role change. If like a Josh Dacos goes into the midfield, maybe we get excited. But in all honesty, I think Collingwood are probably one of the least relevant fantasy teams this year.
Collingwood, just a little bit of off-season contraception.
Yeah, sure thing. Essendon, this is going to be different.
Cox out.
Yeah, I get it.
Ah, man.
The pull-out method.
Should probably talk fantasy, hey? Everything I've contributed is just shit.
No. Essendon, here's your chance to contribute. Essendon, lots of outs here. Now, I've included a little sneaky one. He's not actually out of the team, but he's out of the team for this year. Nick Martin, he's out. He's done his ACL. He's out for the entire season. Will Setterfield, our boy Drapes is gone. Todd Goldstein is gone. So both rucks are gone. Ben Hobbs is out and Dylan Shield is out. And I was surprised how much Dylan Shield was in the CBAs. He got 39% CBAs last year. Todd Goldstein was the leader CBA getter in 79%. Will Setterfield was the leading midfield CBA getter at 75%. Sam Draper, when he played, had 50% CBAs. Nick Martin had 12% as well. Hobbs, 9%. In total, if we think there's 4 people in the CBAs, you got 400% total, right? There's 264% CBAs gone from this side. More than half of their CBA rotation is gone in the off-season. So there is opportunity. Caldwell is still there, but he was... he might have been higher, but let me have a look.
Oh, just another...
Yeah, Caldwell 65 to Will Setterfield 75.
Yeah, so another name to add to the list.
But he's still there, right?
I'm looking at a video.
Is he hurt?
Yeah.
How long's he out for? I'm not across that.
Oh, no, I didn't mean he was hurt. I was answering he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there.
I'm looking at a video of Braden Fiorini. Welcome to the Dons.
So he comes in.
Let's see what he has to say.
Super excited to be joining the club next year. Can't wait to get stuck into pre-season with all the boys and looking forward to running
Doing
out
it for
in
the
front of
boys.
you guys next year. Can't wait. Go Dons.
Can't wait. Go Dons.
Go
for the
Dons.
boys.
Well
Standard
done,
interview.
Braden.
Do you think he comes in? Because he still dominates the VFL.
Bro,
Dominates
he's a
the
specialist
VFL.
VFL
I
player.
heard on the traders, I think he averaged 140 in
What
the
the
VFL.
fuck?
140.
Bro.
Don't quote me on that, but it was something ridiculous.
No
like
wonder
that.
he gets a welcome video on the Twitter. Well, you just said that Dylan Shield, you were surprised how many CBAs he had.
Yeah,
Gornskis.
34%. And Will Setterfield was the number one CBA midfielder for them, which, again, surprised me. And he wasn't just in there he played most of the season. They were a bit all over the place, but I think that there is absolutely some huge opportunities here. My eyes immediately go to Darcy Parish, who only played 3 games last year.
So
he's going to be priced in the 70s.
So they're starting midfield.
Jai Caldwell, number 1.
Yep.
He's going to go from 65% to like 85%, I would have assumed.
Parish, if he's healthy.
Merritt's still there. He didn't get traded.
Merritt will be hiding somewhere.
That'll be interesting.
Where's
tail between
Zach?
his legs?
Where's Zach? Is he? Zach, take off the brown and gold jersey. What are you doing,
Because
Zach?
he played a bit of half back. He played a bit of forward.
Gross.
Surely
Disgraceful.
with that whole thing,
Do you think he's going to get chastised?
he
No
goes straight
no
back.
midfield for you.
No, I think he goes back to the midfield because
you
they're
think
sucking
so?
up to him again.
Well, there's 3 pretty elite midfielders. Like, that's not a bad midfield. I'm not a big fan of Darcy Parish, but there's 3.
I think Durham. He has to see it. He went from 57%.
I like
I think he's got to go up.
So we're already at 4. The fifth midfielder in any rotation doesn't get high percentage.
But I think so. Darcy Parish goes from playing 3 games at 58%, and his time on ground was also really low. Remember, he was getting some low toll games. I think he's the guy that probably benefits the most as a midfielder. The other thing, the rucks. You've lost both your ruckmen. Who the fuck is supposed to ruck?
Well, I'm surprised you didn't lose Todd Goldstein to the grave instead of retire.
Greatest ruck of the decade. Enter my boy, and he's going to be my boy of the preseason, Nick Bryan.
Oh,
Nick Bryan,
tell me more.
I think, is a serious option. He played, what did he play? He played 4 games last year. The first 3 games, 64%, 63%, 76%, while Todd Goldstein wasn't there. They also had Sam Draper there for those games, but he was the main ruck.
What's a bit of Braying going to cost me?
I believe he's very cheap. Again, the game's not open yet, so let me have a look. I've got a little spreadsheet here. Nick Bryan is going to be priced at $614,000, price that figure of 57.8. I think here's my early call. Nick Bryan averages 85 plus
Oofed.
for the season.
No one else there, just
I think he's one of those players that if you look at his junior numbers, if we think about and any position where the junior numbers translate better than any other position, it's the ruck. We were talking about this a few years ago with Tristan Sherry when he stepped into that ruck role for the first time. You picked him. He got injured round 1. But anyway, the logic was there. He was stepping up, had fantastic junior numbers, and now we've seen him a couple of years later what he can do. Nick Bryan is a similar... I don't think he was quite as dominant as Tristan Sherry, but his numbers in the VFL have been elite for years, and he's got no competition. His only other competition is Vicentini, who is still a bit of a project in my eyes.
I would say no competition. He's working against the umpires this year as well. They're doing everything they can to fuck the ruck.
They are. So maybe...
Ever ready, Nick?
Ever ready. But maybe like a Peter Wright does a little bit of that as well, as like sort of the backup ruckman sort of thing.
He's definitely.
But I think if he's not on your radar, Nick Bryan, put a little circle around it because he's not a name I think that a lot of people will be fully across.
Put him on the radar.
So I think he is probably one that is going to see a step up. What about Durham? Like, just lastly, Sam Durham, is he someone that we should be looking at?
I like him in there better than I like Parish, but I think that's a personal vendetta against Darcy Parish.
That's probably from a football perspective, right?
Yeah, well, but I mean, that's what we're talking about. These guys play football. And so I reckon that then translates to how we see it as fantasy.
These guys play football?
What's that?
They play football?
They do, yeah.
Okay.
We're talking practice. No, but I mean, like, that's what we have to, work out so that we can see what the flow-on effects are.
I wonder if my question is fantasy scoring ability compared to a Parish. Like, if they both averaged 70% CBAs, I'd pick
Parish would score more. Yeah, but we're talking about who gets the nod in there.
Yeah. I do think Durham's probably going to be ahead of him. But yeah, definitely a big watch, I think, Essendon this
Warney
year.
is going to be loving this. The Dons are...
Or not.
Are relevant.
Relevant from fantasy. That probably means that it's irrelevant in the AFL. Fremantle, it's a boring one. In comes Mason Cox.
That's not boring.
Love a bit of Cox in.
You must be doing it wrong. It's not boring.
Oh, we're back. And Judd McVie is another one who is coming in. Out goes Nat Fife. Poor one out for him. He should have been out years ago. James Aish.
You're a Fife hater, mate.
I am.
You didn't see Fife in his heyday.
Yeah. Just I don't know. We can stop worrying about Nat Fife coming in and stealing midfield time. Will Brodie, he's gone. I don't think he played last year. Liam Reedy, which we spoke about before, he's out. And Michael Walters retired. So a lot of those players were in and out or barely in. Mason Cox coming in. We've already got Luke Jackson. We've already got Sean Darcy. What are we doing with... Is he just a pure key forward? Does he play?
He's just a third. Cox is just a third.
Yeah.
Third in the Fremantle marriage, I think.
Standard.
I think he's just back up.
I don't think there's too much to be talking about here. The main thing that changed for Fremantle last year was the game style, right?
Yeah, which I anticipate is going to be similar again this year. So just little flags on guys like Sarong and Brayshaw.
I know that, they're probably down from years gone past. I don't know if I see a bounce back. There's no opportunity there. Geelong, Wobble. He's in. He's not getting chopped. Well, he got chopped from Hawthorn, but he's in at Geelong. They've drafted some rookies, and outs are the old buggers. Mitch Duncan, Cam Guthrie, and then Ted Closer, who's not old, but he's also gone.
My initial thought here is James Worpel obviously was not really fantasy relevant, and he becomes even less so going to Geelong. But obviously last year, the player that went to Geelong was the most fantasy relevant player.
I don't think it's going to be a similar story.
It's not going to be the War Peter.
But I do think this is another case, an example of Geelong not losing basically anything and gaining someone who's going to be a consistent part of their squad. Like Mitch Duncan barely played. He scored 59.6 points on average. Guthrie didn't play at all. Ted Closey, I think, played 1 or 2 games, did nothing. So they've just added Worpel and lost essentially nothing. So again, it's a little bit of a squeeze. I think this more affects the 3rd, 4th, 5th options in terms of the CBAs for Geelong. Maybe you'll see more. Who's the Max Holmes, halfback, wing, but yeah, I don't think it affects too much. But again, another opportunity where I don't think there's chances for players to step up in this team. Gold Coast.
Oh, let's go down to Sin City.
There's a few things happening here. So out goes Flanders, Fiorini, Ben Ainsworth, and Connor Buderick. So a few players that definitely played. In comes the chef himself, Christian Petrarca. He comes in. Jamara Ugle-Hagan also comes in. And the number 2 pick, Zeke Euland from the academy, comes into the Gold Coast Suns as well. So again, it's going to be a crunch when it comes to market share. Flanders was good 2 years ago, but last year it didn't do much. No. Fiorini actually was solid. He played a lot on the wing, so I think there's a wing spot up for grabs. Ben Ainsworth, just a general higher forward, and then Connor Buderick was a bit more locked down, didn't score all that well. Where do you see Christian Petrarca fitting in?
This is the big ticket item. I'm sure there's going to be heaps of hype, and we'll have to see how it plays out. But to me, Damien Hardwick just got himself Dustin Martin.
Yeah.
He has one of the best midfields in the game without Christian Petrarca.
Yeah.
So Christian Petrarca, if I was Damien Hardwick, he's going to do exactly what Dustin Martin did for years. He might start some CBAs
50-50 forward.
He's just going to fuck off forward. Someone will cover his player. And he's going to go and line up on some Terry top-up and fucking boots.
Yeah, so he averaged 66% CBAs last year. A lot of the hype will be, are we picking Christian... Now, the forwards this year are as bad as they've ever been. It feels like we say that every year. I think he's like the 2nd highest averaging forward in the starting price.
He's going to a team that has scored less fantasy points last year overall.
Yeah, you've got the Dimmer thing. So if you were worried about the score... Although Melbourne's game style was pretty shit.
They scored more fantasy points.
Did they? Did you say that out of your ass?
So no, Melbourne was like 6th or 7th. It wasn't heaps, and then Gold Coast I think were down in the lower half. I think I've got it here, man.
Not that I don't trust you, man.
I'm a prepared operator. Here it is.
Not that I don't trust you. Yeah,
There's
okay,
Melbourne.
no, they were. They were up there.
Yeah, mate. No,
Gold Coast were...
You got a reason not to trust me. But ask yourself this question. Of Noah Anderson, Tuke Miller, Matt Rowell, Christian Petrarca, let's say, who's the most damaging forward?
Oh, it's Petrarca, by landslide. And it's not like you're leaving no one in the middle when he goes forward.
No.
You've got the reigning Brownlow medalist in Matt Rowell. You've got Noah Anderson in there, who's just a silky ball user. Tuke Miller's still there. So I think he's number 4 in terms of the CBA mix.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because CBA mix, I'd love to see him in almost every CBA if he could, because he's a
go for it. So maybe the CBA's rise, but the mid-time
This is
down.
This is the thing. You think about that role that, I'm of course a Dustin Martin lover, but that role that he played, he did see some CBAs, but then
who's he swap with? Is it Tuke?
In terms of that forward,
yeah,
Tuke has been playing a little bit more of that kind of high half forward recently.
Could this lead to Tuke Miller forward status?
Oh,
if he is starting forward and doing that swap that we saw.
Because it's all based on the starting positions. Hey, it could. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But I
you heard it here first. It's happening. It's happening.
I just think I just want to simmer on the tractor.
Simmer on dimmer. Yeah, I mean, so it was the 2 top dogs, Noah Anderson and Rao, 86% and 81% respectively. And then a massive drop of Alex Davies came in late in the season and was 69%. He was the next. Tuke Miller only 54%. But it's your Humphreys, it's your Will Grahams, Sam Flanders 8%. Those guys, I think it's just going to be a concentrated 3 or 4, and that's it.
The other thing too as well is you ask yourself, does Christian Petrarca having 30 touches and 120 fantasy points win Gold Coast a flag? I don't think it does. If he is kicking 3-4 goals a game, and those other guys are doing what they've been doing for years, that, in my mind, is what wins them a flag. And Dimmer's the master motivator in the sense he's going to, Christian, come on in here, mate. You're going to play this very specific role and you're going to help us win a flag.
So he is coming in price at 90, I think, pretty much on the dot. Do you think that goes up, down, or stays the same this year?
I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to say stays the same just because he's such a good player, but I don't think he's going to play a role that's piggery.
Yeah. So if I go look and we compare him to Dustin Martin, obviously Dusty had that 2017 year, went nuts, 113.6. But when he was still Dusty, 2018, 2019, 2020, we'll do the times 1.25, 93, 97, and then 74.7. I don't know what that is in COVID terms, but it's close to, it's that 90. It's below the 80, which was the 100. So even Dustin Martin in that role, I don't think there's much upside in Christian Petrarca. I think that there might be a little bit of a lure, new club and stuff like that, but I don't see the upside, really. He's going to a worse scoring side. I don't think he's going to see an uptick in CBAs, or at least meaningful CBAs. And he's how old is Christian Petrarca now? He's obviously a little bit, year older than last year, but he is, bring this up, 2030 this year. So...
And we both know that's fucking old.
We just crossed that off.
So
I feel old. I think tempering expectations on Christian Petrarca there. But potentially a wing opportunity for some of the younger players to come in, like Ezekiel Uland.
Okay, let's talk about his former teammate and GWS. Clary
comes in. They lose Callan Ward, Lockie Keefe, and Jacob Ware. So not too much on the losses. Callan Ward, obviously, great bloke and... he's been there for a long time, but in terms of fantasy, not too much of an impact. How does this fit with their rotation?
I want your thoughts on this one. I'm finding this Clayton Oliver thing really hard to read at GWS. So your thoughts first.
I am intrigued. I'll say that because you've got the 2 big guys in Tom Green and Finn Callahan. I think that their depth outside of those 2 was pretty bad. So I think he can come in and just step into that at least 3rd role. And if you compare him to the other 2, he probably has the less versatility compared to those guys. There's also the factor with Clayton Oliver, he fell off a fucking cliff, and a lot of it was in his head, and it was the environment that he was in.
I thought it was in his nose.
That too. So I mean, is GWS better for that, or probably better than Melbourne? Less opportunity.
The thing I'm struggling with is, I don't know if for GWS to be their best, Clayton Oliver is that 110 guy that he was previously. I know. Obviously, he was dominant in Melbourne. Won a flag in that time. But the way GWS play, I can see Callahan bursting out of the midfield. There's that orange tsunami. I think Clayton Oliver's going to be fucking swept up by the tsunami, let alone be involved in it. Like he doesn't strike you as that kind of player.
Yeah, I think there's a wider range of outcomes for Clayton Oliver than there is Petrarca. I think there's more upside with Oliver.
Agree.
But I think there's also probably more risk.
Yeah. He's going to be, if they've picked him, he's going to be in midfield.
Yeah. And so he and Tom Green, they're almost pretty similar players. Would you agree? Would this, if Tom Green's there, he's doing the dirty work in and under, could that free up Clary to do a bit more of his plus sixes, which is probably where he was his best when Melbourne was chipping the ball around a bit more? Could he be getting a bit more outside ball? Because that was the thing that I think that really dried up last year. He wasn't getting any marks.
He could, but I just don't know if he's the guy that the tsunami, the Giants wanted in the hands of. If the guy having plus sixes is Lockie Whitfield.
Yeah, obviously. Yes, absolutely. And Ash.
So I don't know. Jury's out for me.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one. Who would you rather in your team? Christian Petrarca as a forward. They're both basically priced at the same. Christian Petrarca as a forward or Oliver as a mid. Both with an early buy, by the way. Not that we're going to talk about early buys in this podcast, but I'm leaning more to Oliver at this stage.
Mainly because I think Petrarca is just nothing. I think Petrarca is just going to be...
I think there's more upside with Oliver, but...
I want to see preseason.
Yeah, I do want to definitely watch it. Does this affect the other two guys, Callahan and Green? I think it has to. No?
I think so. Their midfield was Callahan, Green, and Daylight. So I think
but just from a market share point of view.
Well, other teams...
Green gets he averages 35 touches. He's not... Weirdly, he's not a tackler. He's not a guy that gets the other stats. So any drop in touches is going to affect him.
Those other stats are now available to someone like Clayton Oliver. Teams have three good midfielders that average decent scores across the league, and I think GWS could be one of them.
The Giants were mid-pack when it comes to fantasy scoring. So... Interesting. So going from Melbourne to GWS, it's basically a loss of 9 points over the entire team. So basically the same. Just a very interesting one. I do wonder how this affects Clayton Oliver and if we see him reinvigorated, because it was one of the more inexplicable drop-offs in a career that I've seen without an injury per se affecting him. Let's go into Hawthorn. Pretty simple on the surface, but I do think there's opportunities here. In comes just a bunch of rookies. They missed out on the Zach Merritt sweepstakes, which ended up not being a sweepstakes. He just stayed put. They lost Warple. Sad day. CJ is gone. Luke Bruce is gone. Seamus Mitchell is gone. And Sam Frost is gone. So not all super relevant players, but potentially it's a fair bit of depth that's gone. They were a fairly deep team to begin with, but I think there are opportunities. Warple is the biggest one. 63% CBA is gone with no one to replace it.
Will Day.
He's definitely someone that I think a lot of people got burned by last year. I still maintain that he had a good run coming up.
Well, he did. We don't pick for injuries. I think he replied. You know what I mean? He played barely any footy last year. Did he play?
Did he come back in the end?
Check for me, but he played barely any footy, so I think that's almost a 1-for-1.
Came back for 2 games in round 20 and 21 and then missed the rest of the season.
So I don't think Hawthorn are too relevant in terms of that market share changing.
Well, do you think that we could see the step off of someone like Cam Mackenzie, or is it finally going to happen? I've been saying this for a couple of years, but is Connor McDonald, he took a step backwards last year in terms of fantasy scoring. Could Connor McDonald be... Because there's been talk and pundits outside of fantasy have been talking about he's going to be the midfielder that we should look out for. It hasn't happened yet. I'm hoping it's not just going to be a Dylan Moore situation. I'm moving past that. But I think Connor McDonald is still someone, if he was to see some midfield time, I'd be all over that. So I do still think he has the fantasy chops. But Cam Mackenzie, Will Day, Connor McDonald, who benefits the most?
Will Day. To me, that's just a straight... Hawthorn were a game away from a...
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I think that Will Day just was their number one. Maybe Jai Newcomb probably, but he's at least number 2 in terms of the CBA rotation. Connor Nash is still going to be there. They're now missing the 4th. So the 4th spot is open for grabs. It was Warple, Mackenzie, I think, might step in there, or Connor McDonald could leapfrog them all. But
Connor McDonald's priced at 68, which does seem tempting for a guy that
in the forward
we
line.
think has the skills to be a midfielder.
Yeah, I think he could be a 90 plus in the mids.
He's a great forward. I think you're not wrong about that kind of Dylan Moore comparison. He's got the skills to do a bit of both, but I think that they don't change what's not broken.
Would be Cam Mackenzie over Josh Ward, I think, though, if we're picking between those two guys to be the fourth midfielder. At least that's probably where I am. I think Mackenzie's probably going to go past him. But yeah, interesting one. There is obviously opportunity there. I think it's probably a team that maybe doesn't get a lot of attention, but I think that there might be an opportunity there. Melbourne, more here. Lots happening actually at Melbourne. They've lost obviously the two midfielders in Petrarca and Oliver. They also lost Jug McVie and Charlie Spargo. In comes Jack Steele in a very random move, and Max Heath, CJ from the Hawks, and Brody Mychek from the Pies. So a couple of not fantasy relevant players there, but Jack Steele's the big one.
Yeah.
The biggest thing here is that you've gone two guys who 72% for Clayton Oliver, 66% for Christian Petrarca. One guy comes in from Jack Steele. He walks in there as a top dog mid, right?
And my understanding is that's what he was guaranteed walking in there as well, which I think is a big part of it, because you go as like a reasonably big name player to a club, and you've obviously had a few subpar seasons, and you go to that club and say, this is the role I want to play, and they in this instance have said, yep, come on board. These are the players we want to try and find every year. It's a player that's priced under 100 that can potentially be a 110 guy. You're picking a potential captain option. You're picking a potential top scorer of the year for like a significant discount.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jack Steele is that guy.
So he went from 85% CBAs, averaging 108.5 the year before, to 74% this year. His time on ground also dropped. He even had I think he started one game as a sub at the end of last year. Do you remember that? Started as a sub, yeah. And so I think the writing was on the wall at that point. So I think this is a pretty easy one to predict that he's going to have a bit of a bounce back. He is 30 years old, but I don't think Melbourne are going to bring him in and not play him 100% basically as a midfielder. They don't really have anyone. Like, they've got Viney and who else?
I think he's provided his shoulders are good, I think he's just going to go to work.
The more interesting question is, there's obviously one coming in, two going out. Who's the other person that's going to benefit? Because I think there's going to be a second person that has to go in there. You're going to have probably Viney in there. Probably you're going to have Jack Steele in there. Because Pickett was actually super high at 69%, but he's not really fantasy relevant because he's more of that just damaging type. Is this Trent Rivers 2.0?
Oh, wow. Going back to that fuck.
He had 20% CBAs, but a lot of it was in concentrated. Like, he had a 5-game stretch where he basically averaged 55% CBAs, and a lot of games where he had nothing.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good preseason watch. Put a pin in that. Who's going to round out that midfield group in Melbourne?
Because there's obviously 2 out, 1 in, so there's got to be one more spot up for grabs. Or is it one of their young guys like a Harvey Langford, who at times was in there a fair bit, but obviously a young player, so another one to watch. So I think, Melbourne's going to be an interesting team. Don't have an early bye this year either. North Melbourne, from an off-season point of view, not super exciting. They lost Will Phillips, Darcy Tucker, and Bryn Teakle. They drafted Lockie Doverston and brought in Charlie Spargo. Will Phillips played 6 games at 52% CBA, so some bits there. But again, it's only 6 games. So just sort of, decluttering of the depth makes it a little bit more straightforward. Tom Powell might get a little boost, but do we think, I guess the bigger question is Sheasel going to be playing midfield? Or is he, what the fuck is Sheasel doing?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
what Sheasel's doing. He is just one of those guys who can play half-back, midfield. He even scores in that half-forward role he showed last year.
Gun.
So you're going to have to pay 110 for him.
That'll be an interesting discussion. I think we'll get into that a fair bit over the preseason. But
For sure. He could be that captain option, but we will see.
Yeah, from an ins and outs point of view, I don't think there's too much happening at North Melbourne. No. Similar with Port Adelaide. Will Brodie comes in.
Depth. He's not going to play.
Travis Boak is out. Ryan Burton is out. Finlayson is out. Judd McVie is out. Hugh Jackson is out. Willie Rioli Jr. is out. All back-end sort of guys. I mean, Travis Boak actually had a patch last year where he was doing a lot. He actually had 16% CBAs. I was surprised to see that he got in there at all, and had 75.6 points, which is a 5.2% market share. So it's not nothing.
What did Rosie's CBAs round out to at the end of the year?
Yeah,
because he played the different role. So I just want to know what
is that going to continue? So he ended up on the season at 35%. The last 3 rounds though, 82, 58, 73.
Yeah,
and that's when like Horn Francis was out for the year at that point. Am
I right in saying Port got a couple of decent wins in that time? Or
I don't remember.
Absolutely talking about us.
It's the Zach Butters show. But with Rosie not there in the midfield, their midfield suddenly looks a little bit crap. Like you got Butters, Drew, Wines. That's a big drop off.
It looks thin, doesn't it?
Is there a world that Will Brodie comes in?
No. Why? Like
that was my immediate thought too. I was like, this guy's just coming in for depth. He hasn't played in 2 years, I don't think. But I don't know. If there's an injury or something like that, it could be. It could be like your guy, what was from Sydney that you brought in? Sheldrick. He could be a Sheldrick type that you maybe ride for a little bit if the conditions all suit.
I'm very skeptical. He obviously was doing something.
Or is Bergman going to step in there? He saw some games where he had like 80+% CBAs as a bit of a tagger.
I think that's a more likely scenario than the Brodie. I think if another AFL club has basically not seen enough over the course of however long Will Brodie's been at Fremantle to put him in, I don't think Port are going to come.
It's his third club, I think.
He was at Gold Coast?
Yeah, Gold Coast and Freo. Yeah, so I probably the Bergman thing, right?
Let's talk about the Premiers. Tigers.
2017. Basically, not much. Out goes Camden McIntosh. Thompson Dow, which we've been crying out. What have we seen in this guy? Jacob Blight, which surprised both of us, and Tyler Young has moved to West Coast. In comes...
Kashitsky, gone.
Kashitsky, yeah. I didn't even put him on here.
Thank you.
But he's out. That experiment is over, thankfully. Ins, couple of Sams. We've got Sam coming. Who's that second Sam?
Samuel Grilge.
Nailed it. I think it's Grill.
Sammy G.
Sammy G.
Sammy G.
Sammy
bro.
G. Okay.
Sammy G.
That's easy. Yeah, Sammy G comes in.
Grills.
I forgot I put the little prompt there. But yeah, I think it's Grill from what I understand. I don't know if these are going to be the highest scoring rookies, but you've also got Smiley, who didn't play a game last year. Let's not forget about him.
Okay.
If he's healthy, I think he walks into that side and probably takes the Dow. But there's some CBAs up for grab. So Dow had 44% CBAs, and McIntosh, remember, he played a bit of that inside mid-roll at times. He had 23%. So there's some inside midfield opportunities, I think, opening up. I think Lawler takes a step up.
Yeah, definitely.
Or Smiley comes in. He strikes me from what I've heard. Obviously, we haven't seen him play yet, but he seems like a mid-only type.
Fun guy.
Yeah, makes you laugh and smile.
Dare you say? What were you were telling me something about coming off air, coming.
Yeah, well, again, I'll give a shout out because I can't remember the gentleman's name, but there was a podcast recently from the coaches panel where there's a draft expert that comes on. I should learn the guy's name. But he last year he was the one that tipped me onto Xavier Lindsay. He was big on him in the preseason, and obviously he ended up being a great starting selection. And he was asked on that podcast who's going to be a good pick for 5 years in the future. You know, someone who maybe a bit of a slow burn at the start, but in 5 years could be the best rookie from this class. And he did say that Sam Cumming could be the guy that, you know, like an Isaac Heaney sort of type. Maybe takes a little while, but, you know, starts as a forward, but then once he goes in the midfield would be fairly electric. So, one to watch from that perspective. But I'm not sure... Again, with Richmond's, Lawler was okay last year as a cash cow, but maybe not.
It's tough when the market share is so small.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Last couple, and probably the last big relevant one is St Kilda. Out, Steele, we talked about. Webster is out as well. Zach Jones finally retired. Harry Boyd and Max Heath. Harry Boyd with a big one game career. And
how many games have you played?
One more than me. But anyway, I didn't fuck anyone's fantasy team up. And Ari Showmaker.
You fuck mine up every week.
No, that's you. That is all on you. In comes Tom DeConing, Sam Flanders, Jack Silvani, and Kai Fincher, who was a notable rookie drafted as well. So fair bit happening. You've lost 74% CBAs from Jack Steele, 26% from Zach Jones as well. Market share, big loss of Jack Steele, 95 points, 95.9. We'll start with the rucks.
Yeah.
It just kills the value of both of them,
every
right?
ruck at St Kilda is now irrelevant.
We just can't pick any of them.
Don't bother.
You just leave them. If there's an injury to one, you rush and grab the other one, essentially. But it kind of sucks.
I wouldn't grab TDK even if there was an injury to...
He's good. He's still good.
No, he sucks. You had one good ruck pick last year, mate.
It
wasn't him.
The big in, and I think probably one of the most popular fantasy players this year at the start of the year will be Sam Flanders.
Yeah.
He goes from the Gold Coast where you're behind Anderson, Rao, Tuke Miller, to coming over to St Kilda, who's just lost Jack Steele.
Yep.
Like, who the fuck is their CBA rotation? It's probably Wang, who was definitely seeing more midfield at the end of the season. I think he's basically their number one ruck.
What was Nasai doing, but?
Yeah, that's true. I wonder. So Wang's in, Nasai undetermined. And Jack McRae, like, what's he doing? He stopped playing at the end of last year, essentially.
Gross. Flanders,
Are we rolling him back out again? Sam Flanders has to be number 2 or 3 in the midfield.
Yeah, and I think I might be talking out of my arse as usual, but I think he was one of those, like, you're playing midfield kind of deals as well.
Yeah, I think there was a quote basically saying, look, I love Dimmer. He's a great guy, but I want to play midfield.
Play me in the
and
midfield,
if you're
bro.
going to St Kilda, you're probably doing that under the illusion. And he's young. Like, he's not I like... Some people might make the Jack McRae example where he came over to do that. The different stages of their career, I think. I think this is more, to me, the Bailey Smith of this year. Probably not to those heights, but I think this is the one you don't overthink.
Yeah.
You just pick him because we've seen him and his ceiling.
There's 30 points of value there.
And he's so cheap. I think he, at this stage, unless something happens, he's probably one of the biggest locks, I think, of the preseason. But is there maybe opportunity for someone else to also step up? So, like, I don't know. This midfield just looks garbage. Like, is Hugo Garcia still rolling around there as much as he was? Windhager, is the box finally going to play more than 50% time on ground?
Yeah, it might just be a couple of big-ish dogs and then just some supplementary pieces.
Philippou, he's the guy. Is there room for him as well? You're the man to talk about. You're the Philippousis aficionado.
There's never room for the poo. There is never. If I go to pick the poo this year, cut me off. Just like I should have cut off that poo.
I think this is the one you got to take off your never again list. I think we got to be open to the idea of getting poo in.
You're telling me that?
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Yeah,
good sound grab.
It is time. It is time. Yes, I am saying that because go back to that patch that he had when he was in the midfield. He was killing it.
Don't talk about his patch, mate.
Yeah. he was killing it. And last year, obviously, start of the year injured, came in, wasn't quite right, had one game at 22% CBAs, the rest 0 CBAs. Obviously, it's a preseason watch, but again, this is the kind of thing where that 50% TOG threshold rule, maybe.
No, bro, I'd rather be constipated.
I think you got to forgive. But let's move on to the next team, Sydney. Very limited things here. Charlie Kerner in, Florent Hayward, Jack Buller out. I'm going to just leave it there. There's not too much change. The main thing is the return of Errol Goulden, which we saw it last year, but obviously we did see what that was. West Coast, lots happening. I don't know how much of it is meaningful because they've got Jeremy McGovern, Oscar Allen, Liam Ryan, Campbell Chesser, and Jaden Hunt all leaving. They're bringing in Willem Dersman as the number 1 pick, Cooper Duff Tyler, but it's spelt Turtle, who's the number 4 pick, Ruckman. Josh Lindsay, who is a halfback, who's the number 16 pick. A lot of good raps on him. Devin Robinson, Harry Schoenberg, Finlay McRae, Brandon Starcevich, and Tyler Young all come in. So lots of players that basically other clubs have given up on are coming in to try their crack to get into the West Coast team. In amongst all of that, is there any winner from this this crop of players coming in?
I think there's likely to be a winner, but I don't know if we can determine it yet. Like you said, there's so many moving pieces, and then obviously Minnie McWaltz is going to do what he will with those pieces. We'll see more in the preseason, but I think it would just be pure speculation at this point.
I think of the guys going out, the biggest market share there was Jeremy McGovern, who basically was 5% market share, 64 points, let's call it, average. And the year before, he went like 80 plus, I think. So I think the half back line is where there's the most potential, and I like the look of Josh Lindsay as someone to keep an eye on for a rookie if he can get a bit of half back time. We've seen rookies do obviously really well in that role before.
I think it's fair. We've said that a couple of years in a row now about West Coast halfback. Maybe there's halfbacks.
Well, Ryan Marich obviously was the guy last year, and he went nuts. And
did he go nuts from the start, or was there a little patch at the start where he wasn't relevant?
Yeah, it took a little bit for him to get going. And he did that.
He swung back. I think he started as a forward, didn't he?
Yeah, he like 1 or 2 games in the forward line, then swung back.
Yeah.
And I get the impression that like he was there out of necessity almost because they didn't have anyone else. Like he did that whole step out of the square sideways kick half first, which was
outrageous,
which was awesome. But I think that they're still looking for some half-back time. The last team, Western Bulldogs. In comes Connor Buderick and Lockie Carmichael, pick 21. Interesting story here. Sydney father-son got bid on. Sydney pass up, goes to Western Bulldogs. Remind you of anyone?
No, tell me more.
Josh Dunkley was a Sydney father-son player.
I didn't know
found
that.
himself at the Bulldogs. So
Okay, cool.
could this be another fantasy superstar in the making? We'll find out. Jamara Ugelhagen left. Jason Johannesson, Caleb Poulter, who played a bit on the wing, and Liam Jones gone as well. The main one there, I think, is Jason Johannesson. I think, again, like West Coast, they're crying out for a bit of half-back with Bailey Dale being the only one. Obviously, no Caleb Daniel there anymore. So this is where the Carmichael thing, again, I referenced that same podcast from the coaches panel, which I'm still yet to find.
You're going to have to
old mate's
tweet
name.
this person an apology.
Here, no, Dylan follows draft. Dylan Alexander is the gentleman's name.
Sorry, Dylan.
So he does a top 10. So last year, number 1 was Xavier Lindsay. Number 1 for him this year was Lockie Carmichael.
Oh, okay.
He was the number 1 most relevant fantasy rookie for 2025.
I thought he was excited about coming.
That was the future. That was the... We're all excited about coming. Don't get me wrong.
I'm trying to throw you the ute. Just take it. Take it and throw it down with authority.
I've got to work back into it. I'm a bit out of practice. But yeah, the shout out to Dylan. So big watch on Lockie Carmichael, and if you can get a spot on that half back line, it looks to be a bit of an accumulator of the ball.
Beautiful, mate. We've fumbled our way through it, but we got
our way through it. Yeah. So a couple of teams where there's not much going on. A few teams where there's a lot to watch. I think Essendon, Melbourne, St Kilda, Hawthorn a little bit. We're watching the Clary on the Gold Coast side of things.
Clary's at GWS. Tractor on the Gold Coast.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Track on the Gold Coast, Clary on the GWS. They're probably the main ones.
Clary might spend a bit of time on the Gold Coast.
Maybe a little bit of Carlton with a couple of guys gone. He might, yeah.
It just seems to align with his... Yeah, we'll see.
Should have flipped him the other way around. But let us know, what are your thoughts? Who do you think? Is there someone that we've missed that's moved clubs that we've completely ignored? I know there was a Jaden Hunt a couple of years ago that I just did not think about at all. Ended up being a solid pick, which from memory, the winner that year picked him in the starting squad. So there could be someone we've missed that's changed clubs that could be a diamond in the rough. Let us know in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating review, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!